Hi, I'm Andrew Spencer. I work for Asia Corporate Jet. I'm the training manager on the fleet of Gulfstreams. And a part of my role is to manage the AOC. We have a Cayman Islands AOC, so I'm in charge of maintaining the regulatory requirements of that. And I also work for an organisation called Ops Group, which is a business aviation organisation. When I took the role on, I was given the manuals in a dead format, Microsoft Word. We'd had the AOC obtained, so the manuals were initially approved. But of course, I knew that in the upcoming revisions, I had to have a system in place that would allow me to manage the revisions and manage the edits. So I personally didn't come into an organisation with no digitized system because we had an online manual, but I knew from previous experiences in airlines and as a pilot how difficult it is to maintain manuals. So part of my push for management was, because we had a fresh manual that hadn't any revisions at that time, we could start from the web manuals platform and we had all of the functionality when it comes to revisions and managing revisions from the onset. And that was the reason that I'd sort of pushed them to say, hey, it's brand new, let's start immediately with a system like web manuals. The organisation was looking for a digital solution because I came in and, as the post holder for the manuals, told them that I wasn't going to be able to maintain manuals in a I guess old school style, which was keeping them as Word formats or PDFs. It's in our organisation, we don't have much manpower. We're a small company, and it would just take too many man hours for me to manually do revisions. So the drive to seek a platform like web manuals was to have a tool that we could use from the beginning to make sure that we could keep the manuals updated, and anytime we updated them, a revision was actually a very streamlined and easy process to manage. Our team had varying experiences with document management, and as a company we have a very powerful flight operations software that is run in-house, and so that operational software that we already have in place to manage the flight ops, airplane maintenance, scheduling, had a document management function. And that works very well when you're managing documents that are not so connected to regulatory specific items. So I think initially there was a little bit of apprehension as to why we needed it. And this was coming from people who were not maintaining the manuals. So to people who have never had to maintain a manual to a regulatory requirement, they kind of become a dead manual. They buy it, it's there and it never gets touched. So initially there was a question as to why we had to get this. When I demoed it to them and showed them what I was doing with the manuals, and they saw how powerful and easy it was to create changes in a manual, track the changes, revision of changes, and effectively push out a new manual that would be accepted very quickly by our regulator, immediately they asked me to move on with the camo manual, so the maintenance manual. So initially, and my portfolio is only flight operations, and that was all web manuals was going to do. But then when the team saw just how powerful it is and how great of a manual it actually can produce, they wanted all of the camo manuals on straight away. So I think that's quite a testament to the platform itself. Transitioning into web manuals was quite easy for me. When I started, I knew of web manuals from my previous job. I'd used it as a user, so I was familiar with it being there. When I reached out to web manuals, the sales team was very responsive to be able to help me with the product or the solution that I needed. And once we'd signed the contract, the onboarding team was very responsive to reach out and get all the training meetings started so that we could, I guess, be up and running as soon as we could. When I did the training, I found that to be superb. The Zoom calls, the one-on-one training was really, really useful to be able to get me started. And then, of course, the onboarding helped with the onboarding team who imported manuals for me. I did some of them myself, but the more complicated and bigger manuals I sent back to web manuals to have them professionally sort of converted over, that then allowed me just to manage formatting. And I'd have to say that, when I was on the calls with Sean, all of the time that we spent together was super helpful. We got a trial document uploaded almost straight away, and then that allowed us to actually use a live document to practice with. And when I didn't like it, I could delete it, go back to scratch. And Sean was there. There was never a feeling like he was on the clock. There was never a feeling like, we only got 2 hours and that was all we were going to be given. It was always just, he was there when I needed to reach out, either through email or jumping back on another Zoom call. So it was a much better experience than I expected, simply because there's so much one-on-one time that you get with different parts of the team. The tools that we rely on day to day are a little bit different because we're a smaller organization. So our AOC operation isn't the entire organization. So I guess from a pilot's point of view, Webmanual's interface is easy to use, and it makes the manual much easier to find references in than a PDF. From a day-to-day point of view, from an editor and the person who's meant to be liaising with the regulators, that makes life a lot easier, because anytime there's a question or anytime information is being sought, I can find it and I can export either just that section, or I can give them access and they themselves can come in and see it. So I think I'm seeing the huge benefits as an editor at the moment. I guess the biggest benefit that I've seen, again, bearing in mind we're a small organisation, we have 12 pilots, 4 aircraft, is the fact that from the compliance point of view, the regulators have been very happy to hear that we're using a system like Webmanuals. I guess from their point of view, it shows that we're very willing to maintain compliance and to work with them to bring any areas of our manuals that may not be up to speed into compliance very quickly. The big advantage I have as an editor is the compliance libraries, and being able to take my Word document, have it imported into Webmanual format, and then as I'm making revisions, linking it to compliance libraries, so that at the end of the day I can sit back and go, well, okay, I need to make this number of changes in order to bring the manual up to speed. I think Webmanuals, my biggest testament to it has been, or my biggest testament to Webmanuals has been how it's helped me obtain our foreign AOCs. Obviously you get an AOC, ours is Cayman Islands, but that doesn't automatically allow you to fly into other countries as a commercial operation. So you have to fulfill the requirements of each state to get a foreign AOC. Having had Webmanuals on board and have the manuals in Webmanuals has meant when I get compliance matrix from these organisations or authorities, it's been very simple to find the reference to my manuals, and I've been able to give them access to Webmanuals online. So it makes us appear very professional when it comes to obtaining these certificates. So it's made a relatively difficult process quite painless for me. AI is becoming very prevalent in everything we do, and in aviation I think we have to realise that we need to harness parts of AI into areas that are non-operationally critical. So a big problem for us in manuals is the search function is very specific. So when I search for a phrase, generally it will only search for that particular phrase. And we have crew members of different first languages, or even just different countries of origin. So sometimes words can be interchanged, the same meaning, but the manual doesn't have the word that I'm searching for, or the manual may not have that particular phrase. So AI will be hugely beneficial when we can freely ask Webmanuals a question, and it will then use the AI function to be able to search our manuals and bring up all of the relevant sections that it thinks relate to your question. Webmanuals service levels are outstanding, and I think this is from the sales to the support team. Anytime I had questions during the initial process, My sales team and the guys working on our contract were super responsive and really understood that the challenges that we faced as a business are unique, and a lot of business aviation operators are a bit different to bigger organisations. And they understood that and worked with me to come to a solution that we could make work, and hence we're now a web manuals user. Support, outstanding. Every time I've raised a ticket, it's responded to very, very quickly, either by the team in my region or back in Sweden. And when there have been things that I myself have done wrong and caused the problem, they're always super responsive to fix it, and there's never been any time that I've been left wanting, so it's been great. I would recommend web manuals to all aviation organisations. As a user, from an airline point of view, I've seen other systems, and my previous job, we did use another document management system to begin with, and then we were a very early adopter as a web manuals user. So I've had probably 7 years as a user with web manuals. The interface has improved remarkably. The documents are really easy to read. And now as an editor and a document owner, I would struggle to understand why people would want to use anything else.